Hello, I'm Len Cannon. We are starting with breaking news, folks. There is a lot going on in a couple of locations. This afternoon, 3 Houston police officers were shot in 3rd Ward, and right now officers are also at another location in 5th Ward. I'm
Mia Grady. A busy afternoon it has been. The scene in 5th Ward is an active one with heavy police presence and heavily armed officers, as witnesses described to us. That's because we understand the shooter is not in custody. I want to give you a better idea about these locations, where they are. Pulling up this map for you. Take a look first. This is at McGowan Street near St. Emmanuel. This is where we understand the officers were shot. Now, this is just a couple of blocks away from Emancipation Park, if you're familiar with that landmark there in the 3rd Ward, and just a few miles away, all of this is from the scene happening in 5th Ward, that active scene with a massive showing of law enforcement.
And we're going to start. We've got team coverage for you tonight with reporters at Lyons and Lockwood. We have David Gonzalez at the hospital where the officers are, but we start with Zach Taratari, who's in 3rd Ward, the site of the shooting. Zach, what's the latest there?
Yeah, Len, near the 2100 block of McGowan, Charles and McGowan to be specific. This is where everything was said to have originally taken place. We got that tweet from HPD around 3:30 that 3 officers had been shot. A couple of things to note. There's a huge police presence here. You can see it. A flood of police, police detail. We saw an ATF car over there a little bit earlier. Just a ton of police presence here. One thing I want to tell you is that they were focused on that white building where it appears there's kind of like an outdoor parking lot surrounded by a chain link fence. We saw a lot of police going in and out of there a little bit earlier. Now they seem to be gathered in the middle of this street, and they do seem to be trying to talk to some of the neighbors who've been filing out of these homes, these buildings, and we are looking at this scene from the overpass of the highway here. As I mentioned, just a ton of police presence here. We do continue to try and talk to some of these neighbors that may have seen what went on, and we will of course continue to monitor this situation and bring you any updates as soon as we get them.
Zach, thank you. Now let's go to David Gonzalez. He's at Memorial Hermann Hospital on the condition of the officers. What are you learning, David?
Len, the good news from Houston Police is that all 3 officers appear to be in stable condition. I'm live right across the street from Memorial Hermann outside of the emergency room, and this is where those 3 officers were rushed after being shot in the 3rd Ward. And there's a huge police presence out here. We just see a continuous flow of officers making their way here, both in uniform and out of uniform, to try to get an update as to the condition of these officers. But via social media, Houston Police did post on Twitter not too long ago that all 3 officers were in stable condition. Right now we can see that we are getting ready to get hopefully a live update from Chief Troy Finner, who is here at the hospital. We did see their public information office setting up, so that lets us know that hopefully here very soon we'll be getting a live update on the condition of these officers. But we've spotted a lot of people making their way out here, so if you are going to be in the Texas Medical Center, just be very careful and very mindful of the law enforcement presence out here, because they of course want to make sure that their brothers or sisters in blue are doing okay this evening after being shot in the 3rd Ward. I did speak with Memorial Hermann, and they let us know that Houston Police will give us a 20-minute heads up when Chief Troy Finner is ready to speak. I will pass that information along to you guys and bring you live updates as to what exactly happened in the 3rd Ward, but of course the condition of these 3 officers. Back to you.
From here, I'm sure Chief Finner has a lot of information to gather before he steps to that mic to give us an update, but very encouraging news there that the 3 officers are in stable condition. This is a live look right now over the scene in 5th Ward at Lyons Avenue and Lockwood. That's where our Melissa Correa is. Melissa, what are you seeing there?
Hey there, Mia. For a second, I thought things were starting to slow down a tad because as I walk out of the picture, you're going to see there at the welcome sign of 5th Ward neighborhood at Lyons and Lockwood, you see a heavy presence of law enforcement push back. However, in the last couple of minutes, another Houston Fire Department ambulance has arrived, and I just tweeted out video of HPD's SWAT team van moving in, along with Houston Police's bomb squad moving in. All of that law enforcement, that tactical vehicle moving in under the tree line there along Lockwood near Lyons. Wedged on either side of this scene is Atherton Elementary. Just to the south of it is going to be Wheatley High School. We've seen some students try to dodge this heavily policed scene as they begin to make their walk home from school. 2 pharmacies are on either side of this scene. We've got CVS and Walgreens, and I got to tell you, in a matter of minutes, Houston Police and Precinct 1 deputies cleared out both stores. The parking lots are nearly empty. In fact, all of the vehicles you're seeing now belong to Houston Police. I want to show you, if you cannot see it clearly in the picture as photojournalist Renee pushes in, but whatever happened out here happened with a sense of urgency, and I can take away from that how all of the vehicles were pushed up on the curb here along Lyons. It looks like it was a mad dash to get to whatever was happening here. From the top down, federal government down, is law enforcement, ATF agents, state troopers, Houston Police, along with deputy constables from Precinct 1, and again, Houston firefighters on scene. Not only firefighters, but it looks like EMTs with a fire truck and an ambulance at the ready. Again, this is chaotic across Houston. Multiple scenes. We're 4 miles from that scene in the 3rd Ward. Traffic along I-10 East and that portion of 59 through downtown, think Minute Maid Park, was bumper to bumper as I was racing over here. Houston Police are likely trying to gather their bearings with all of that information. And like I mentioned earlier this afternoon, just hours before this, Houston Police Chief Troy Finner was briefing Harris County on the death of a deputy constable just on Sunday who was shot and killed during a traffic stop. And so law enforcement, as we've heard from them throughout the week, likely on edge. They have called on Houston to stop with this violence, this gun violence, those calls and pleas coming from pastors, chaplains, county leaders as well. And here we are, dozens of law enforcement officers at the corner of Lyons and Lockwood in the heart of Houston's 5th Ward, waiting, it looks like, with bated breath, as we know a bomb squad unit and a SWAT team unit made their way a little closer into a view that we just can't provide you a picture of right now, Len and Mia.
Northeast side at Lyons and Lockwood in 5th Ward. We can only surmise, folks, based on the information we're getting, that scene at Lyons and Lockwood potentially is the site where the suspect is holed up. That seems likely, but we have not confirmed that. As soon as we get more information, we will give it to you.
Yeah, 2 different scenes that we know of, so there is a lot of information to get to. Staying on top of everything, the mayor of the city of Houston, Sylvester Turner, he tweeted the following, reading, 3 Houston police officers were shot in the line of duty today, and I am relieved to hear their injuries are non-life threatening. My thoughts and prayers go out to them, and I will be at the hospital soon to check on their recovery, thank them for their service, and speak to their families. Once again, a tweet there from Mayor Sylvester Turner in regards to the 3 Houston police officers who were shot earlier this afternoon, now in stable condition. All
right, we're also getting more information about the suspect that we are told police are looking for. There is his picture and his name. Roland Caballero is the suspect that police believe is the one that opened fire on 3 officers in the 3rd Ward about 3:30 this afternoon. We've been telling you from our David Gonzalez, who's at Memorial Hermann Hospital, that those 3 officers are in stable condition. We are being told that the officers were hit in the arms and legs, and they are in stable condition. Again, the suspect, Roland Caballero. Now, whether he is in 5th Ward at the Lyons Lockwood location, we are not sure. Mia?
But what we have learned just seconds ago from combined law enforcement this evening that Caballero has been shot in the neck. We understand he has been injured and he is in a standoff with officers right now. If you recall, we heard from Danielle Young, who lives there in that Fifth Ward community, and she said that she saw a heavy presence of officers. They looked like they were arming themselves, moving in, and this is likely the man they were closing in on. Suspect Roland Caballero, shot in the neck and now in a standoff with officers at Lyons Avenue in this area, Lyons Avenue at Lockwood.
Yeah, when you think about the past week, folks, that we have had with law enforcement, you got one deputy that was hit by a potential drunk driver, another one shot, and now we've got 3 HPD officers shot.